Welcome to the Hank ClaimMaker 2.0.6 release overview. During this video, we will go over the major updates being introduced with the latest version of ClaimMaker. The first item we will cover are the updates we've made to consolidate batch and case action items. All batch action items are now available under one menu in the Batches pane. Here you have the ability to both create and delete batches. These options will be available under Coder View, Reconcile View, and the Data Entry View. Similarly, the case action items have been consolidated into one single menu in the Cases pane. Here, you have the ability to create a new case for the selected batch, share the selected case's URL, move the selected case to another batch, or move all the documents for the current selected case to a different case. Finally, you also have the ability to now delete a case from this menu. These options will be available in the Coder View, Reconcile View, and the Data Entry View. Additionally, under the Reconcile View, you will now have easy access to creating a new batch or a new case from the Case Details pane. The batch state can now be quickly updated using the new Batch State Update button. Make sure to select the batch you want to update and find the Update Batch State, and then simply choose one of the options from the drop-down. Similarly, you can now adjust the case state and the case state reason right from the Cases pane. Make sure to select the correct patient and then use the Update Case State button to select a new state. You can also update the state reason for this case as well. This release introduces a brand new piece of functionality called Claim Cleaner. This is accessed under the Coder View and lives in the Validation tab next to Case Notes in the Case Details area. This new feature will run a validation against NCCI edits to cross-reference coded procedures, ASA, and check modifiers. Once you have coded your case, go ahead and navigate to the Validation tab in the Coder View and select Validate. Once the validation process is complete, it will display the results for each line item coded. As you can see here, we ran multiple line items at one time. In this table, you will see the category, and if there are any recommendations or errors that come back, those will be displayed in the description. And there will also be a solution offered in the far right column. Let's go ahead and address some of these issues. First, I will actually go ahead and update the ASA crosswalk from 00530 to 00534. And once I do this, I will go ahead and then click Validate one more time. As you can see, we no longer have any issues in the description area, so this has been resolved. Next, you can see there were some recommendations for updating the ICD code. So I'll go ahead and remove the current one and pick one of the ones selected here in the solution column. Now that I've added that ICD code, I will simply click Validate one more time. And now you can see line item 1 no longer has any errors or descriptions and no additional solutions. You can repeat this process for additional line items until the table is completely free and clear. This is not a required step at this time inside of ClaimMaker, but in the future, this kind of work will be automatically incorporated into the coding process. Another feature being introduced with this new release is an integration with an NPI database. In order to improve the quality and standardize the output and increase success with billing imports, unmatched providers without NPIs will no longer be exported from ClaimMaker. This means that providers will need to be assigned with their correct NPI in order to export. The goal here is to ensure that this provider information is as accurate and as standardized as possible. So let's look at some use cases for this feature. One thing to note is that we have already preloaded existing providers that are credentialed at your current sites. So this should cut down on some of the manual lifting that will need to occur. So let's look at 3 different scenarios. The first one will be a full provider match. So as ClaimMaker extracts data from your documentation, it will go ahead and try to run that match automatically. And if it is successful, you'll be able to see that by clicking on the provider title in the field or clicking on the field itself and see that there was a confidence level of 1, which is the highest confidence level. And you'll be able to see the value that we extracted as well as the NPI listed under the field. So you just click right onto the name and it will show you that we did indeed find a full match. So no action is needed. This is the most use case that you will see most often throughout your caseload and as you're reconciling cases. So you should find that you're getting more matches than unmatched providers. The one difference will be with the cases that are more paper-based and scanned. A lot of times providers do not register, and so you'll have to look them up, which brings us to our second use case, which is occasionally you will run into a situation where we did not extract a provider name from the documents, and they may actually already be saved in the local list that we have available. And so what you'll want to do is go ahead and begin typing a few characters of that provider's name. It could be a surgeon or an anesthesia provider. And you'll see here, we do in fact, this is the guy I was looking for, and he is saved in our local database. So I will go ahead and add his name right here. What that will do is actually apply his NPI number directly to this case for export. The third situation that you will run into is going to be the fact that you have a missing provider field. So here we have a second provider that has no data in it. And when we go to type ahead, we notice there are no providers saved under that name. So what we will need to do is click Advanced Search. This is now hitting a global list of all providers that have been credentialed everywhere in the US, and we'll want to go ahead and type this provider's full name. We can also use the specialty if needed, and here we go ahead and find the provider we're looking for and select them and then click Apply. By applying a provider from this global list, we are actually saving it to our local list as well for use in the future. In addition to introducing an NPI match for providers, we are also introducing the ability for local insurance lookup table to be built. This will function similarly to the NPI integration in that we will always first attempt to match to an existing saved insurance as we process cases. One difference is that we will not prevent insurance information from being exported if it is not matched to a saved insurance in our database. To increase the accuracy and reduce any manual updates that are needed, we have preloaded a list of insurances as possible matches to get started. Let's walk through some of the use cases for this feature. The first way this feature may present itself is through the ability for ClaimMaker to not only extract the insurance information, but also process and find an existing insurance. The first example we will look at is when ClaimMaker has processed a case, extracted information from the documentation, and matched it to an existing saved insurance inside of our database. What that will look like is similar to what's on screen here, where you will see a displayed insurance. And when you click on primary insurance, first of all, there'll be no dot next to it, and you will see that we have a confidence level of 1, which means that we were successfully able to match this to an existing saved insurance plan. 1 is the highest confidence level. Then you can click Edit Value to further look at this insurance, and you'll be directed to the data entry view. Under the insurance carrier details, you'll see the name, the plan code, address, etc. And because this insurance perfectly matched something in existence already, we don't have any recommendations on the side over here. So that's the first example. The second example we will look at is if ClaimMaker has processed your case and did find some insurance information in the documentation, but was unable to find an exact match in the saved insurance database. So this is how this example will present. You will see that there is a primary insurance listed, but we have a yellow dot next to it. And if we click on primary insurance, we'll show a confidence level of 0, meaning there was 0 match in our database. And it will show the value, and we'll go ahead and click Edit Value. And now what ClaimMaker is doing is actively trying to search for existing plans that exist in the database that match with any data points that we have entered on the insurance carrier details. So for instance, you can see here that we were able to locate a few different options and using what we call a fuzzy match. And so that basically is saying we could match a few of the fields, but not all of them. So in this case, we'll go ahead and see which one matches up best for us. And we'll go ahead and say, okay, I found one that looks pretty close, or not pretty close, but is the exact insurance. And I'll go ahead and say, yes, I'd like to apply this insurance. It will update the information on screen and save it for you, as well as continue to remember that insurance moving forward. The last example you may encounter is going to be when ClaimMaker has processed a case and there is no insurance documented on any documents that we processed, meaning this field is going to be left blank. In order to reconcile this issue, you'll notice on the reconcile view, the primary insurance is empty and there is a red dot next to the name. When you click on this, you'll notice we did not extract a value at all, meaning there's no confidence that there was a match, and we can simply click Edit Value. Next, we will need to fill in our carrier and plan details, and a couple of shortcuts for you. If you start typing a zip code first, so for instance, if I type in a zip code, you'll get one insurance here. But I can take it a step further and say, well, I know part of the plan code, and I can start typing that. And as I'm typing this information in, the database is going to recommend items based on a fuzzy search. So it will start suggesting plans to add to this case. So for instance, you can see here we have a couple of Medicare plans to choose from based on the plan code I started entering. And this is the one that matches closely to what I need right here. So I'm going to go ahead and say Apply Insurance. And you'll notice all of the red dots went away, and this field is now fully, completely entered, and we can continue with reconciling the rest of the case. All of these great new features will be available to you on Wednesday, August 30th. Should you encounter any issues during ClaimMaker use, please use the question mark icon in the upper right-hand corner to email UI support.